Hey folks, welcome to one of the most enthralling, exciting, enlightening sessions of Science Scamper series for classes 6 to 8 by Educatup. And I am your super science teacher Ambika. At Educatup, we always empower all our students as how to think and not what to think. So if you want to experience the same children, this is the right time to subscribe to the Educatup's YouTube channel. The subscription button is just given below, guys. If you like our video, don't forget to press the like button and ensure to hit the bell icon to get all the latest updates from Educatup. Now let's start today's session, and the topic for the day is nutrition in plants. Isn't it something very different? Because what we all have studied and what we all have heard is that plants provide us energy. We eat different parts of the plants and we get energy or nutrition. Isn't it, children? In some cases, we eat roots of the plants. In some cases, we eat stems of the plant, flowers, fruits, seeds, leaves. But even plants require nutrition, even plants require energy, and they also eat something. So what plants eat, how they get their nutrition or energy, and for what exactly? Because what we know is that plants are static, they are immovable. वो अपनी जगह से दूसरी जगह नहीं जाते हैं. So then what exactly they need energy for? We are going to study all these things in this module today, so you must watch it till the end. Don't leave it in between, children. So now let's see that which topics we are going to cover under this module. So we are going to cover topics like nutrition, then modes of nutrition, that is autotrophic mode and heterotrophic mode. Then we are also going to discuss about autotrophs, photosynthesis, the process of making food, then requirements for photosynthesis, heterodrops, and how nutrients are replenished in the soil. So now without any further delay, let's start the session. Nutrition, the process of taking in nutrients and then utilizing them for various life processes, is known as nutrition. That means you know that we eat a lot of things. We eat chapati, we eat dal, vegetables, fruits, pizza, burger, carbonated drinks. Why? The first reason is that we feel hungry. The second reason, our body requires energy or nutrition, children. Because without energy, our body will not be able to do any function, whether external or internal. External like walking, dancing, singing, eating, sleeping. Internal functions, respiration, digestion, circulation. For every function, our body requires energy. And for that, the intake of nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fats is essential, isn't it? The similar is the case with plants. Plants also require nutrition. They also need energy. Why? To grow themselves, to sustain themselves. एक plant erect सीधा रहे एक लंबे समय तक, उसके लिए उसको एनर्जी चाहिए. उस पर फ्रूट्स आए, उसकी लीव्स अगर एक बार शेड हो गई हैं तो दोबारा से आए. फॉर ऑल दीज थिंग्स प्लांट्स ऑल्सो रिक्वायर एनर्जी. उसके लिए उसे न्यूट्रिएंट्स लेने होंगे, न्यूट्रिशन लेना होगा. ऑल राइट, सो हाउ प्लांट्स टेक न्यूट्रिशन, लेट्स सी अहेड. Now, modes of nutrition. So if we see the modes of nutrition, there are two modes of nutrition, autotrophic mode and heterotrophic mode. If we talk about autotrophic mode, then in autotrophic mode, simple inorganic components are converted into food. And if we talk about heterotrophic mode, then complex organic components are converted into food. Now the question is, what are inorganic components and what are organic components? Because the super science teacher Ambika hasn't told you yet. So now we are going to discuss the same. So let's see. If we say simple inorganic components, this one, yeah? So simple inorganic components means that the components or the food particles or the material which does not contain a carbon-hydrogen bond. जिसमें कार्बन हाइड्रोजन बॉन्ड नहीं होगा, ऐसे कंपोनेंट्स को, ऐसे मटेरियल्स को, ऐसे फूड सब्सटेंसेस को आप क्या कहते हैं? इनऑर्गेनिक. एग्जाम्पल, वाटर. Water is an inorganic component. Why? Because it is not containing carbon-hydrogen bond. Hydrogen present है, पर क्या carbon present है? नहीं. So carbon-hydrogen bond नहीं बनेगा. Next, carbon dioxide, CO2, inorganic component. क्या यहाँ पे carbon-hydrogen bond बन रहा है? Only carbon is present. So these kind of components come under this category. Now, if we talk about organic components, now organic components are those substances, are those materials in which carbon-hydrogen bond is present. Example, C6H12O6, that is glucose or sugar or starch, isn't it? You can see carbon-hydrogen bond is present. So it is an organic component. So children, what we have analyzed? We have analyzed in autotrophic mode, simple inorganic components are converted into food. Now the simple inorganic components means they are not containing any carbon-hydrogen bond. And in heterotrophic mode, the complex organic components are converted into food. That means they are containing carbon-hydrogen bond. Always remember this distinction. It's very easy to remember and always, to differentiate between them. Now let's move ahead. Autotrophs. Now, which organisms are known as autotrophs? So, green plants are known as autotrophs. They are also known as producers because they have the ability to produce or to synthesize food inside their body. They are the only organisms which can do that. No other living organism has this ability of synthesizing food inside its own body. Only plants can do that. And that is why they are known as autotroph or producers. Now, nobody will say and nobody will think, mom is also an autotroph. She also synthesizes food. But does she synthesizes food inside her body? No. मम्मा तो किचन में कुक करती हैं ना, जब उनको सब चीज़ें मिल जाती हैं, दाल, चावल, आटा and all the vegetables. Then she mixes up all and she makes the dish. Is she cooking the food inside her body? No. So only those organisms are autotroph which have the ability of making the food inside their body. जो अपनी body के अंदर खाना बना सकते हैं, अपनी body के अंदर nutrition को generate कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ उन्हें autotrophs कहते हैं, and they are also known as producers. And only green plants are autotrophs. Okay, let's move ahead. Now photosynthesis, the process of making food by plants is known as photosynthesis. You already know that, but few of the components which are extremely essential like sunlight, carbon dioxide. Sunlight is something which is available from the sun. Carbon dioxide is present in the air. Water, plant roots absorb from the soil along with nutrients, and chlorophyll which is present in the leaves of the plants. It is a green colored pigment, extremely essential for photosynthesis. So these four things, sunlight, carbon dioxide, water and chlorophyll, combine together, and then the reaction of photosynthesis happens in plants, and what is formed? Sugar. And what is released out? Oxygen gas in the air. If we see the chemical reaction of photosynthesis, then carbon dioxide and water combines in presence of sun's energy, that is sunlight, and chlorophyll which is present in the leaves of the plants, then sugar is formed and oxygen gas is released out. Alright, now let's move ahead. Now we are going to study what are the requirements of photosynthesis. That means the four requirements, that is carbon dioxide, chlorophyll, water and sunlight in detail. The first we are going to take over is chlorophyll. Now chlorophyll is a green colored pigment and it is present in the leaves of the plants. प्लांट्स की जो लीव्स या ट्रीज की जो लीव्स हमें ग्रीन दिखाई देती हैं, उनका जो कलर ग्रीन होता है वो इसी पिगमेंट की वजह से होता है. बिकॉज क्लोरोफिल इज ग्रीन इन कलर, तो वो लीव्स को एक ग्रीन कलर दे देता है. नाउ क्लोरोफिल इज प्रेजेंट इन द सेल्स विच आर नोन एज क्लोरोप्लास्ट्स. Children, this is very important. You should remember this. Chlorophyll is always present in cells which are known as chloroplasts, and chloroplasts are present in the leaves. Alright? Then there are certain plants जिनकी leaves का color green कई बार नहीं होता है, but that does not mean कि वो photosynthesis नहीं कर सकते because उनमें chlorophyll नहीं है. Chlorophyll is present in every plant. The only difference can be the quantity can vary. Sometimes chlorophyll की quantity कम होती है, इसलिए leaves का color हमें green दिखाई नहीं देता है. But never think कि उसमें chlorophyll present ही नहीं है, तो now this plant is not an autotroph. This can never be the condition. All the plants are autotrophs and they are producers as well because they can synthesize food inside their body through the process of photosynthesis. Alright, let's move ahead. Carbon dioxide. Now, carbon dioxide is something which is present in air and plants absorb carbon dioxide from the air. Now, how plants take this carbon dioxide inside their body? So, through the leaves. When you see a leaf, you cannot see any openings on it. जब आप किसी leaf को देखते हैं, किसी भी plant की हो, किसी भी tree की हो, क्या आपको उस पे कोई openings या holes दिखाई देते हैं? नहीं. दे भी नहीं सकते because they are so tiny and they are so microscopic that they can only be seen through a microscope. और present कहाँ पे होती हैं ये openings? On the lower surface of the leaf. If this is a tree and this is a leaf, तो जो नीचे वाला हिस्सा है ना, जो पीछे वाला हिस्सा है जो हमें दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है इस वक्त, उस पे छोटी छोटी सी ओपनिंग्स होती हैं, उनके थ्रू कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड अंदर जाता है एंड दोज ओपनिंग्स आर नोन एज स्टोमेटा. ठीक है, अब होता क्या है, दिस स्टोमेटा इज सराउंडेड बाय 2 गार्ड सेल्स. जैसे ही गार्ड सेल्स पानी एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं या उनमें वाटर पहुंचता है, सो दे बिकम टर्जिड, स्वॉलोन, फूल जाते हैं. जैसे ही वो स्वॉलोन होते हैं, फूलते हैं, दे स्ट्रेच एंड स्टोमेटा opens. Carbon dioxide आराम से अंदर जाता है. When they lose water, they become shrunken and stomata closes. फिर carbon dioxide अंदर नहीं जा सकता. So basically, in plants, intake of carbon dioxide and giving out of oxygen both occurs through this stomata. ऑक्सीजन का बाहर निकलना जो कि फोटोसिंथेसिस का बाय प्रोडक्ट है, और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का अंदर जाना जो कि फोटोसिंथेसिस का रिक्वायरमेंट है. दोनों ही काम इस स्टोमेटा के थ्रू होते हैं. एंड स्टोमेटा इज सराउंडेड बाय 2 गार्ड सेल्स. हाउ मेनी? 2 गार्ड सेल्स. व्हेन गार्ड सेल्स आर टर्जिड, उनमें पानी एब्जॉर्ब हो गया है, दे आर स्वॉलोन, फूल गए हैं, तो स्टोमेटा विल ओपन and carbon dioxide will go in, isn't it? And when they have lost water, when they have loosened the water, they will shrunken and stomata will close. Carbon dioxide cannot go in. So that is how the passage of carbon dioxide happens in case of plants. All right, let's move ahead. Sunlight. एक्सट्रीमली एसेंशियल फॉर फोटोसिंथेसिस. अगर धूप नहीं है, सूरज की रोशनी नहीं है, तो फोटोसिंथेसिस नहीं हो सकता. इट्स वेरी क्लियर. इवन the amount of sunlight changes the rate of photosynthesis. Now for example, if it's a cloudy day, तब फोटोसिंथेसिस जिस स्पीड पे हो रहा है, एंड इफ इट्स अ ब्राइट सनी डे, और तब फोटोसिंथेसिस जिस स्पीड पे हो रहा है, देयर विल बी अ डिफरेंस. ऑब्वियसली व्हेन इट्स अ ब्राइट सनी डे, द रेट ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस विल बी हायर. ज़्यादा फोटोसिंथेसिस होगा, जल्दी होगा. इफ इट्स अ क्लाउडी डे एंड सनलाइट और सनरेज आर नॉट डायरेक्टली पोरिंग अप ऑन द प्लांट, तो रेट ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस धीमा हो जाएगा या स्लो होगा. सो बेसिकली सनलाइट अफेक्ट्स द रेट ऑफ फोटोसिंथेसिस. ऑलराइट, लेट्स मूव अहेड. Water. Now water is something which is absorbed by the roots of the plants from the soil. आपको पता है plants के roots soil में होते हैं, और soil में जो water और minerals हैं उनको roots absorb करते हैं. Then roots के through एक पूरा channelized system होता है for the transportation of water and minerals, and it reaches to every part of the plant. Okay? Now basically if we just summarize the process of photosynthesis, then photosynthesis produces glucose, and the formula for glucose is C6H12O6. The same converts into starch. So again the formula for starch is also the same, but only the form is changed. Then this starch is stored in different parts of the plants and oxygen is released out. Now that is why, यही तो रीज़न है कि हम हर प्लांट का एक अलग पार्ट खाते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन केस ऑफ पोटैटो वी आर ईटिंग द स्टेम. फ्रूट तो नहीं खा रहे उस प्लांट का, क्योंकि जो स्टार्च है वो स्टेम में स्टोर हुआ. इफ़ वी टॉक अबाउट स्पिनच, why we are eating the leaves of that plant and not the stem or the root? Because जो starch है या जो nutrients हैं वो leaves में store हुए थे. So basically what we people actually find out कि किसी भी plant को consume करने से पहले हम हमेशा यही find out करते हैं कि जो उस plant में nutrients हैं वो किस part में save हुए हैं, और जिस part में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा nutrients store होते हैं we always consume that part of the plant. Alright? Now let's move ahead. Now, synthesis of nitrogen by plants. There's this thing which you should know. There is a bacteria which is present in the soil which is known as rhizobium bacteria. This bacteria has the ability to convert atmospheric nitrogen into a soluble form for the plants. Now children, see, I'll make you understand. You know that in air 78% nitrogen is present in air, but plants cannot use this nitrogen directly. Air में भले ही 78% nitrogen gas है, plants के लिए useless है because they cannot use atmospheric nitrogen like that. So this rhizobium bacteria is very helpful. ये क्या करता है? ये उस एटमॉस्फेरिक नाइट्रोजन को एक ऐसे फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट कर देता है जो प्लांट्स डायरेक्टली एब्जॉर्ब कर पाते हैं. ठीक है? This is one thing. The next way is that fertilizers can be added in the soil which contains nitrogen. अब नाइट्रोजन प्रोवाइड करने का दूसरा तरीका ये है कि अगर rhizobium bacteria is not present at a specific place in the soil, then fertilizers are used, and the fertilizers which contain nitrogen. Alright, so nitrogen is essential for plants for the growth. Plants को nitrogen हमेशा चाहिए growth के लिए. So providing nitrogen is extremely important. Now let's move ahead. Now, heterotrophs. The heterotrophs are those organisms which basically cannot synthesize food inside their body and are dependent on other organisms and plants for their food. So, heterotrophs वो organism होते हैं जो दूसरे organisms या plants पे अपने nutrition या food के लिए dependent होते हैं. Basically, all the non-green plants, bacteria like bacteria, fungi and other animals are heterotrophs. Now, we are going to discuss the 4 different kinds of heterotrophs, and they are Parasites, Saprophytes, Insectivores and Symbiotic Plants. Now let's start first with the parasites. Now parasites are those organisms which are dependent on some other organism for food and shelter. Parasites वो organisms होते हैं जो किसी दूसरे organism पे food और shelter यानी कि खाने के लिए and the place of dwelling दोनों के लिए dependent होते हैं. Now the organism which is providing food and shelter to the parasite is known as host. Okay, now see, suppose there are 2 organisms A and B. Now A is dependent on B for food as well as for shelter. यानी कि A के पास ना तो खाना है ना रहने की जगह है, ना he doesn't want to do any work. So A is completely dependent on B even to get food and even to live. So B is known as host and A is known as parasite. Now parasite sometimes lives inside the body of the host, sometimes outside. अंदर भी रह लेते हैं, बाहर भी रह लेते हैं, लेकिन उसकी बॉडी से ही न्यूट्रिशन या एनर्जी लेना स्टार्ट कर देते हैं और रहने की जगह तो मिल ही गई है. लिविंग इनसाइड और आउटसाइड, सो वेरी स्मार्ट. Cuscuta or amarbeil or dodder, one or the same name of the same plant, is parasitic on potato and dahlia. Now let's move ahead. The next are saprophytes. Now saprophytes are those organisms which grow and derive nourishment or nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. Basically they are the non-green plants. For example, अगर एक dead plant है या एक dead animal है तो उसकी body पे जो organisms grow करेंगे या उसकी body से जो organisms nutrition लेंगे, those are known as Saprophytes. The examples can be snow orchid, Indian pipe, even mushrooms. Mushrooms, the yummy mushroom ki vegetable banti hai, even they are used in pizza and many other things. Those mushrooms are also saprophytes. And children, that is why it is always recommended that they should be eaten afresh and should be always, chopped with a little carefulness, whether they are, proper or not. Now let's move ahead. Yeah, insectivores. Now, insectivores are those plants which consume insect as their main diet. Photosynthesis भी कर सकते हैं ये plants, लेकिन insects को खाना ज़्यादा पसंद करते हैं and their main food is insects. Yes, I am telling you the truth. They usually grow in the places where the soil is poor in nitrogen. जहाँ जिस soil में nitrogen की कमी होती है, यानी कि कौन सा bacteria absent होगा? Rhizobium bacteria absent होगा. ऐसे soil में these plants grow. The examples are Venus flytrap, pitcher plant, sundew. They actually eat insects. Insects इन पे आके बैठते हैं and they grab them and eat them. Now move ahead. Symbiotic plants. Now symbiotic plants or symbiosis is basically that interaction in which both the organisms are mutually benefited from each other. यानी कि दोनों organisms, दोनों plants, जो भी दो ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं वो दोनों को ही एक दूसरे से कोई ना कोई बेनिफिट है. ऐसा नहीं कि कोई एक ही बेनिफिट ले रहा है, दोनों एक दूसरे की हेल्प कर रहे हैं, दोनों को एक दूसरे से बेनिफिट है. द बेस्ट एग्जांपल इज लाइकेंस. लाइकेंस हैव वन एल्गल पार्टनर एंड वन फंगल पार्टनर. सो इफ वी सी इन केस ऑफ लाइकेंस, द एल्गल पार्टनर is the autotroph and the fungal partner is the saprophyte. Now, the algal partner is providing organic food to this and the fungal partner is providing water and minerals. तो इट्स अ म्यूचुअल बेनिफिशियल रिलेशनशिप. एक खाना दे रहा है दूसरे को और दूसरा पानी और मिनरल्स दे रहा है पहले को. सो दे बोथ आर हेल्पिंग ईच अदर, दे बोथ आर प्रोवाइडिंग न्यूट्रिशन एंड वाटर टू ईच अदर. सो दिस इज अ सिम्बायोटिक रिलेशनशिप, a symbiosis, because nobody is being betrayed, nobody is like सिर्फ एक ही हेल्प कर रहा है दूसरा तो सिर्फ फायदा उठा रहा है. It's not like that. Both the organisms are mutually benefited in case of symbiotic plants. The another example of symbiosis is rhizobium bacteria in leguminous plants, in roots of leguminous plants like pea. जो मटर होता है दैट इज अ लेग्यूम, उसकी रूट्स में राइजोबियम बैक्टीरिया होता है. तो दोनों म्यूचुअली बेनिफिटेड हैं. प्लांट ने राइजोबियम बैक्टीरिया को ड्वेलिंग का प्लेस दिया, दैट मीन्स रहने की जगह दी. एंड राइजोबियम बैक्टीरिया इज डूइंग व्हाट? It is converting atmospheric nitrogen to a soluble form which can be directly absorbed by the plant. Plant doesn't have to wait for the fertilizers. So again, it's a symbiotic relationship. A symbiosis happens. Now let's move ahead. Alright children, now we are going to discuss the last topic, that is how are nutrients replenished in the soil. So children, you know that there are certain organisms like bacteria and fungi which are known as decomposers. Now what they actually do, whenever there is a dead plant or dead animal on the surface of the soil, these decomposers, that is bacteria and fungi, different sorts of, they act upon these dead bodies, they release certain enzymes. And you know what are enzymes? These are certain chemicals which are synthesized in the body of an organism for the better functioning. So these enzymes, they secrete on these dead bodies of plants and animals. So whatever nutrients are present in these dead plants and animals, वो सब वापस soil में mix हो जाएं. And that is how the soil will be replenished. See what is happening. Plants are continuously absorbing water and minerals from the soil through their roots, that we already have seen in the process of photosynthesis. Now, a time will come that if plants are continuously absorbing these water and nutrients from the soil, that soil will be completely empty. It will be completely without the nutrients. बिल्कुल खाली हो जाएगा soil. So we have to replenish it. We have to put the supply again of the nutrients. And how we can put the supply again? With the help of decomposers. They automatically do this function and the soil is replenished. So decomposers are extremely important organisms for the, you can say, this complete cycle of absorption of the nutrients and water by the plants and then replenishing. Without them, this cycle will be incomplete. All right. So children, With this, we have come to the end of this super amazing session, and I hope that you all have subscribed to the Educatip YouTube channel. If you haven't done so, do it right now, guys. The subscription button is just given below. You all have loved our video, I'm 100% sure. So it's time to press the like button. And for your science teacher, Ambika, it's time to sign out for the day. But till the time we meet again, be happy, be safe, and keep enriching yourself with Educatip. Bye-bye, children.